Are back. I am from the Breath of Daydreams, Angelique, and the Overlord will be showing up in the chat room any second now. They're probably already there, and I just can't see them. That's vjhd.writer, and we are the Society of Secretly Perfect Poets. And I'm going to wait just a moment for people to show up, and then I will continue with my little hello. And then we are going to read some amazing poetry tonight. So we've already done one live that was phenomenal. Great poems, and really looking forward to these two. Hi, Overlord. Welcome back. Welcome back. No waiting room, though. There was no waiting room this time, yeah, because I didn't start it early because I was typing to you what had went on with the weird post things. Suki's back. Hey, Suki, hello. Well, if we don't count the Overlord, you will be. So I think since we all know the Overlord is just like permanently there because they're a Time Lord and they're everywhere and anywhere all at one time, that would make you first. Absolutely. That would make you first. So, yay, Suki's number one. Um, and so we're so happy that you're there. And Overlord says, it's okay. I'm good at the maths. Yay. So, hi, everybody. We're so glad to have you here. We are the Society of Secretly Perfect Poets. Hey, Tommy, welcome back. Nice to see you coming back. Um, so, enter all who seek meowrific community values. Friendship shall be found amongst the paw prints of poetic ink. And we are so excited to be here tonight. And tonight we will be reading for members of our society who wrote to the Friday Mission Impossible, Lamentable Mythology prompt. Each Friday we give our members secret prompts that only they get, they are not made public, and send them out on a mission if they choose to accept it. Just like the old Mission Impossible TV series, only with a kitty twist. Meow, 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 meow. And so those who choose to accept it get their poems posted and read, and might win gold tickets too if they do the gold ticket portion. And so for this week's mission, um, we asked our society members to write a poem, prose, or short story under 3,000 words that included the words eventide, murkiness, lamentable, and porcelain. That's why I'm calling it the Lamentable Mythology uh, Challenge. The poems had to be 30 plus lines long each to qualify. No reposts. A line has to have 3 words or longer to count. To clarify that, members can include 1 word and 2 word lines in their poems. Those are fine. They just don't count towards the line limit. So you could have uh, 50 lines of a poem for this and 20 of them be 1 word lines, and that would be totally fine. You would just need those other 30 to have more than 3 words in it. And um, for this poem, we also had images included that I did up, and they're gorgeous images. Go look on some of the people who wrote to it, and go look on our page, and you will see all of those images. And they're purple mythological figures, gods, goddesses, and different members that were popular throughout different societies' mythology. And so if they wanted a gold ticket, they had to pick one of those and send that to me so that I could give them the full big version of the poem. I apologize, guys. I'm having some really nauseous moments right now, and I'm not sure what's happening. Um, so for the golden ticket requirement, The poem had to be mythology based, and it had to be inspired by one of those images. Uh, they had to also still be 30 plus lines, and they could play with the interpretation where allowed. So if the image was not just absolutely clearly a very specific entity, they, could play with the idea of who it might be in the mythology. Because some images were more obvious than others, and we wanted to provide a wide assortment so that people really could write to what they wanted to write to. And everybody did such an amazing job with who and what they chose to write. So really, really excited to read these. And let me pull them up on the place that I know is going to work, since we're having problems tonight. And oh, and I just want to compliment the way, by the way, when y'all see these, because originally I had completely different images done for these, but then Adobe decided to completely eat my images, I think because I used Lamentable in my folder's title, and that was a no-no. But we won't go into all the censoring that is occurring with words these days. That's ridiculous. But the Overlord on y'all's back pages, where the poetry is actually written, created something really beautiful, I think, with what was provided. So I hope whenever y'all see it, y'all are as impressed as I am, because I was surprised by it, and I was like, ooh, that's so pretty. So I think they did a really great job. Overlord, you did a really great job on those. Very pretty. And so tonight we are going to start with Broken Blue Pen, that blue, broken _blue _pen. And he won a golden ticket. And he calls his Of Universes. Of Universes. Beyond eventide, the moon climbs through the murkiness of humankind's sin. The stars watch the lamentable beehive as it begins to settle into slumber. Life, once slick porcelain, now spreads chaos into the 8 quarters. Pingala's southern pillar trembles in time with 3 legendary supporters. Traveling turtle, once stable, predictable now, wobbles around the center star. Surya's spark has always provoked life to flourish. Now, after many lifetimes, dwellers of 3 command their own greed, ignoring the intelligence of the Guardian's 8. The vulgar displays leaves them hurtling blindly into extinction. Harry Tangerine emerges just in time to fulfill ancient proverb. Congregations bloody their knees at the feet of destruction, while ancient gods are forgotten. Disrespected the Oxet still stand, guardians of the up-down, protectors of the east-west, warriors for the north-south. Standing pillars, holding true, fighting to keep life balanced. No matter how hard the honeycomb sinners dispatch ancient advice, destroying little blue in the name of the modern green god. This was really wonderful. And y'all are going to please forgive me tonight. I am not going to I can't think of the word. So I'm not going to describe and comment on the poems a lot tonight. I think I am probably going into a migraine, since I'm not thinking of very obvious words and nauseous and everything else going down. I think I can still finish the poems, but I'm not going to be able to do that tonight. So please do forgive me. I will pick out a favorite part of each one. And I think what I like the most about this poem, my favorite line on this one is actually, well, it's either the next to the last or the last line, so I'm going to read them both because I like the play on the little blue ball. So no matter how hard the honeycomb center dispatch ancient advice, destroying the little blue in the name of the modern green. God, excuse me. That was really amazing. And Suki says, "Whoa, awesome! Clap, clap, clap." Yes, love this blue. Really, really great. And so next, speaking of, next we have Suki, another great and awesome person. Oh, Suki, your kitty looks phenomenal there. And so this is Suki Morrison. It's time for wine. And Tommy's giving the purple hearts to blue. And the Overlord is giving the blue hearts. And so it's time to wine by Dreams in Color Poetry. I walk through the fairgrounds in my hometown. The walk at eventide provided a beautiful glow from the moon. I look at the fragile, it looks as fragile as porcelain, or is that a reflection of me? The pale white of the moon mimics the blood loss from my face as sadness bursts forth today. And the thoughts of the past it is revealed, it's a bitter pill. The thought of no goodbyes given. It made me feel more than ill. Better not to think of it. Better just to hide all the feelings wanting to show themselves to all. The remembrance would cause me to weep. No closure, the crime of stolen time, just gone away, but so close. Kissing the tops of heads of ones I love, thinking I'll see you soon, then torn away. They are torn away from me. No proper goodbye, the grief, the tears are here, the thought of that boy today. The one with curly blonde hair brought back such painful memories. Memories that are compared with the love in my heart, both cause such ache. The murkiness of the night matches my soul as the lamentable story I dare not tell to the masses. All the lies from her lips that she passes, my reputation now burned to ashes. It would take glasses and glasses of wine. And I think that's my favorite part because I love a good ellipsis and that little end right there of wine. So because Suki loves some vampire poetry and by doing it just like that, it changes the entire possible meaning of the poem and makes you go, oh. So wonderful job, Suki. I really, really like that. And Suki says, great read. Thank you. Thank you, Suki. I know I'm not doing my best right now, but hopefully it'll still be good enough. Oh, I like how you did this one too. Okay. So clearly I wasn't paying much attention earlier because I did not notice that. That is really cool. I like the way that you took. So when y'all look at these also, I want to point out that even though I did the original image, when y'all see the gold ticket winners, when you see your god or goddess or mythical figure on your opening page put there, the Overlord did that. And Tommy, how they did that on yours is really freaking cool. So it looks really good. Really, really good. So next we have T.M. DeSaro, Purple Majesty. I want to stare at it. Purple Majesty by T.M. What did I do? You don't remember? You took the image of the Aztec goddess that he chose to use, and you stuck her like she's coming up out of the bauble, and with the porcelain kind of leaves all behind, draped behind, and then that little bubble there like that, and her coming up out of it, and the headpiece kind of going into that. It looks really good. It elevated that. So it looks really, really nice. I'm impressed. And so this is T.M. DeSaro, Purple Majesty. She fell to earth deliberately, a goddess of the sun, adorned in purple majesty, a mystery on the run. As I recall, her fall was not a state of venomous fate, but more a deeper shade of blue when lovers suffocate. Appearing at the moment, chaos reared its ugly head, when people hungered for a change from days of doom and dread. The gods that they once worshipped left their planet years before, and ever since they've prayed for someone new they could adore. And so they built a temple, and she blessed them with a lie. For when we follow blindly, it's much easier to deny. We hear exactly what we want while craving what we lust, with ravenous intentions, how our idols surely rust. We see exactly what we need when living in despair, and hope is food on which to feed, a meal we all must share. And soothing words may calm the raging waters of the heart, but love becomes a beacon when your world is torn apart. For sacrificing silence is a deafening affair, and whispers come to nothing when our voices disappear. And diamonds that are dangled often strangle our desires, keeping souls off balance as they're drowning in the fire. The tales of gods and monsters passed from one life to the next are crafted by the victors, poets rewriting the texts. And myths are merely stories draped in centuries of lies, waiting for another goddess from the violent skies. And so she was exalted as a legend in her mind, promising a future dulled inside the lines of time. But nothing was her substance, same as words float in thin air. Her pages soon were graying, like the color of her hair. For desperation breeds confusion, loss confirms our needs, and worship is illusion. Crimson red, we all must bleed. And power is a word we place above the ones who ask. The message that we seek remains well hid behind a mask. And power is a vacuum, sucking every vague detail, an image built upon a dream, a battle meant to fail. For time reveals the truth as castles fall through shifting sands, her reign become a burden, lonely tears inside her hands. And then her eyes beheld a soul encased in human skin, a spirit she was meant to meet, to stir her blood again. A story written in the stars like fire inside the sun, enraptured inside a song of time, her ending had begun. Until her longing overwhelmed the age of lovers past, the sadness of the centuries assured nothing lasts. She had no purpose in this world, her followers had grown cold. The wicked winds of change did blow, another story told. She fell back up into the sky, much worse than when she came, to find herself another lie, become another name. And now she is a goddess in a photo on a phone, reigning over pixels and the soul she lives alone. And all the people carry on as if she never left, praying for a savior, doing what they willed at best, raising up their glasses to whom she used to be, trying to remember as she fades from history. And Tommy got a golden ticket for this. Yay! Thank you, Tommy. I think my favorite line of this just wanting to double check because I think I have the one because I like the wordplay of it, but I want to make sure but it's my favorite. Yeah, I think it is. So my favorite part of this is might sound simple compared to some of the gorgeous lines written, but I really liked that she fell back up into the sky. I like the way that's said. Tommy says, lovely reading. Thank you, Tommy. And Suki says, beautiful with the hearts. Yeah, it was really well done. Um, and I like the ambiguity of it because it could have been, it's like a merging. It could have been anyone, but it's very mythological feeling. But I like that fell back up. Uh, sorry. And so oh, that was really great, Tommy. Next is Brush and Pintails, and Gada also got a golden ticket. Um, and this is Untitled. And Gada wrote, in the ancient times of Greece, divine and bold, Athena's tale in mythic folds was told. Born from Zeus's head in radiant sight, the goddess of wisdom found her height. With an owl as her companion, wise and keen, Athena, the owl goddess, was seen. In Eventide's cloak she held sway, leading mortals throughout night and day. In Athens' contest, a pivotal scene, Poseidon and Athena, their gifts between, the sea gods spring the goddess's tree, but wisdom's fruit won victory. From olive groves Athena's gaze surveyed, a city's fate by her wisdom swayed, her owl a silent sentinel in flight, guardian of truth in the darkest night. Heroes sought her counsel in their quest, guided by wisdom, they faced each test. Athena's presence serene and fair in every gathering, in every prayer. Thus in the records of time, her story we find, Athena, the owl goddess, wise and kind. Her wisdom like the stars forever gleams, guiding humanity through dreams and schemes. And what I like about this one, my favorite line on this one, and it's my favorite line because it blends the past with the present, because Athena in many stories was told in the way that Gada is telling it. But I like the way that she used from olive groves Athena's gaze surveyed, and I really like that entire stanza, because even though it does fit the Greek mythology, with the olives, it can also fit today and in what's going on today. And I thought that was really wisely used. So I really like that. And Tommy says, beautiful purple hearts. Yes, it's really, really gorgeous. Another great golden ticket winner. And I love that she brought the owls in the way she did with Athena, because love the owls in that. So really, really beautiful. And next we have the nature underscore of ash. The nature underscore of ash. And give me 1 second because I want to make sure I get the names right. Unfunlo. No, Unfunlao. And shoot. So this is Unfunlao and Shelope. Drip from Brown Creek, not allow. Thou not taste its murkiness. To wife he raised eyebrow. For drink she backed too quick, but to child she had to hurry. Who she left alone in the hut, in secret she dipped of creek's waters, deadly shortcut. And Funloud did screech straight from his talons, babe to be gone by morn. Dark dark eventide, was too late to save his precious baby. Soon he sunk down deep into his mind. From his shadows he welcomed slavery. Lamentable, he became blind. From within, his shadow feasted, while the others turned their heads. Not the first time this tale was repeated from what the elders have said. And Funloud did screech straight from his talons. The babe was gone by morn. Dark eventide, dark eventide, dark eventide. From laurel branch now, stripping all the green leaves. The best healing they can find. Horned owl swooped down low from her tallest tree. Shadow eaten, father must say goodbye. How long till wife turns to shadow? Will they stand aside and look? Life's fragile as fine cracked porcelain, as broken shortcut mistook. And Funloud did screech up from his talons. The babe was gone by morn. Dark eventide. And Funloud did screech, dark eventide, up from his talons, from his talons. Clicked off that. My favorite lines. My favorite part of this is the refrain. Suki says, lovely, and that I've got to go. Bye, everyone. Wonderful poetry. Have a wonderful evening, Suki. Thank you for coming. And Tommy says it's a wonderful ride. Yes, I like that she went into a Native American frame of mythology. And I'm not supposed to be doing the descriptions, but I like that. Excuse me. My favorite line of this is, well, it's the refrains. I like that dark eventide repeat throughout, and I also like the straight from his talons and the Unfunloud did screech repeated. So I thought that was really wonderful. Thank you, Ash. And Ash wrote a second piece that's not a gold ticket for it. And it is called The Way of the Moonflower. So this is also the nature underscore of Ash. The Way of the Moonflower. Memory can be stark, found lying in daylight. How cherished or feared is the flavor when viewed right. Fueling the grins of tomorrow's bright promise, or peeling the skins of all who look down on it. Capture the glint light, bouncing off porcelain. Familiar reminders seep out as hell's cruel din. Swirling away, doubt pulls fragile petals from softer gold through lead's heavier metals. Shy fingers dip, claw at murkiness blinders, lamentable waxing. The way of waning memory. I find myself enamored by the mind's bloom, all that triggered sensory, heightened memory more often than we assume. As day fades, sinking into eventide, off porcelain white bud, before the witnesses of sun hide. Oh, I apologize, I find myself enamored by the mind's bloom, all the things triggered, sensory heightening memory more often than we assume. As day fades, seeking into eventide, of porcelain white bud, before the witness of sun hide. And my favorite line of this, and I love moonflowers. Moonflowers are gorgeous. So my favorite line of this, I think, is, no, why did that just do that? Well, Overlord, it's doing it on those too, so maybe it's just something wrong with WhatsApp right now. That is weird. So my favorite of this one is I like the fueling the grins of tomorrow's bright promise, because that's just um, a beautiful phrase and line. And also, I don't know if y'all know what moonflowers are or what they look like, but they open up and turn their head up towards the moon at night, um, and the way that their white cups just kind of, they're just really beautiful. So I like that, fueling the grins of tomorrow's bright promise. It's not doing it on mine. Are you blowing yours up to the full picture? It's not doing it on some of mine, and it didn't do it on this when I first read through. But then when I went back to find my favorite line, it did it. So I don't know what's up. It's really weird. And next, oh, I hope I get this well. Okay. And next up, we have Abe's Condor. Um, this is not a gold ticket, but it is about mythology. Wow, it uses some mythology. Leviathans. Lift Leviathans Part 2. Little men lift leviathans, the poor, poor pieces of themselves into porcelain. Those obtuse statues, self-portraits smashed back into origin. Let me start over. Okay, I think I got it. Lift Leviathans, Part 2. Little men lift leviathans, the poor poor pieces of themselves into porcelain, those obtuse statues, self-portraits smashed back into origin, wandering into the weeds, worshipping power, back into war again. Holding together the pieces of a fragmented society, letting greed become a cemented piety. Do I have the right to be separate from the mold of this overarching anxiety? Allow creativity to seep inside in the dead of the eventide. Parting strides amongst the tide come, the enforcers of this apartheid. Since birth you've cried, they lied. Humanity is a far ride. To be a born innocent, would it last long? Another note in this song. Embody what's wrong, marching on along. Shift of the pendulum, trying to ascend to them. Those who knew the pen I swung, fingers pill so long I've clung. This is what I love to do, shove aside what I knew might be loosed by a few screws, rather be so than lose the ability to convey in new hues. Swamped in the murkiness, aching to be held in perky bliss, would it be a worthy wish asking for an earthly gift? A single day where not a thing is lamentable, the sky is presentable, and the world around me isn't resentable? So I can jot it down, return it as a rebound, bearing enough affection to astound, searing this inflection into my sound, when a reason to keep going is unfound. Oh, Aves, you and your alliterative rhymes are just, ah! And my favorite line of this is, well, it's two, but I think they would be one if they weren't split. So, rather be so than lose the ability to convey in new hues. So the line before that is might be loose by a few screws, but rather be so than lose the ability to convey in new hues. And Tommy says, awesome, Aves. And yeah, I really like that, but I really like that line because that's something, um, one needs is an ability to convey in new hues. That was really cool. And so the next one is a gold ticket by me. Oh, you put them in there too. You put her in there. And this is called Imbalanced Reverence. So this is Imbalanced Reverence by From the Breath of Daydreams. O goddess of the moon, my lady of the east, I'm grateful for your prowlings. Come eventide, I gift this feast. O sister of the sacred, protector of the sun, celestial hymn created, a spectacle of love. Divine in brilliance, joyful, melodic song breathes choice, a tender grace quite savage and lyrical of voice. Vast waters still before you, and night descends in awe. We're grateful of your nurturing and the shelter of your paw. Our hearth's fire kindles warmly from this nourishment you bestow. The safety of your protective gaze does chase away all foe. The murkiness of solitude drapes lighter in your lair. Like fragile porcelain, our lives will crack, but heal well mended in your care. 'Tis peace your presence brings us, our children flourish in your state. Within this realm of joy and heartache, there's none who can compare. Your order calms night's chaos. Your vengeance guards love's fight. May all who dare for cruelty's sake bear witness to your might. Each talon tempts the universe from lamentable convoys. We hold your purr in reverence, the quiet strength that gives us choice. O goddess of the moon, my lady of the east, I'm grateful for your prowlings. Come eventide, I gift this feast. And this was about Bastet, for those who don't know. And I love Bastet. But my favorite line of this would be, well, I'm going to go with 2 on that. Tommy says, beautifully flowing purple hearts. Thank you, Tommy. I'm going to go with the 2 on this too. Is I like a tender grace, quite savage and lyrical of voice, because she was known to be both that, both gentle nourisher and savage vengeance against those who would do things wrong. And I think I like that for that reason, because you can be soft and graceful and still quite vicious if needed, if those that need your protection need protecting. And so I love that about Bastet, very cat-like qualities. So that's my favorite on that. And the next one is another one that I wrote from the Breath of Daydreams, and it is not a gold ticket. And it is called Aspects of Selection, an Objectable Brain Spark. And it's also very much so about the news and Palestine and everything that goes on right now. So, Aspects of Selection, an Objectable Brain Spark. Of eventide vanguards, redeemed and serene, murkiness fails to cascade in, the structures unfathomable, the complete what's obscene, in this life once lamentable, too frail to be keen. I object, I object, I object, I object to protect, I object the neglect they dissect, I object circumspect, I object misdirect, I object, I object, I object, I reflect, reconnect. To the moment the sins lost a chance, before patience was spoken, when hope held us in trance. Past the prance of the callous, beyond the malice of stance, and the world's borealis, every glance is a lance. Porcelain crumbles into the night. Every crack feeds the humble. To give in or to fight. There's no hope for tomorrow when drowning in blight. Is it right? Out of sight? Show some might for their plight. Breathe a slight out of spite. Excite squandered delight. I object, I object, I object. I object every sect. I object what's correct. I object, then deflect. I object each dialect. I object, I object, I object. I object, I respect. I object, I object, I object. I object, I suspect. I object our neglect. I object to infect. I object to erect. I object, I object, I object, I object. I project. In retrospect, I expect. I object most intellect. What a strange architect. Such pointless words. Still, I object. Oh, this wasn't Up on Waking. I remember it's a song that came into my head suddenly. That's what it was. But I was thinking about Palestine and the news and stuff. And I think well, I feel like I have to say that my favorite line is I object, but other than that, I think my favorite line would be torn between the first one of Eventide Vanguard's redeemed Assyrian, and I also like in the world's borealis, every glance is a lance. I think I'm going to go with that one. In the world's borealis, every glance is a lance, because um, because when we look at Palestine and stuff, we see it, we see what's going on, but then we turn our eyes, we just glance away. So it's like a stabbing through the heart each time, and a stabbing through hope. So that's why that's my favorite line for that. And the next we have the final poem of the night, and it is also a gold ticket winner. And this is Richard, No More Half Measures, 2023, and it is The Curse of Anubis. Let me get a drink. The Curse of Anubis. Under the beautiful, baffled porcelain blanket of winter, somewhere between the now and forever after, eternal life's curse began its occupancy with the lamentable vengeance. What began as a solitary pilgrimage through the familiar cobblestoned alleyways verging my homestead, this inordinate eventide was painted with the unease of uninvited company lurking in the shadows. Although no unearthly presence was visible, mortal unrest, impressed palatability, panting and scratching rattled the walls around me, and panicked breathing swims my head with woozy trepidation. Noises grow even louder and more frantic, amplifying consternation. The hands of self-preservation forced my limbs into expedited motion. Fruitless mania fells me to the ground and overwhelmed as consciousness dissipates. Upon walking, darkness collapses around me. Shadowy limbs of cursed trees lurch towards my person with malignant intent. Throbbing ache from extremities has me clawing at my neck with deepening solicitude, and fingers return stained with crimson notice, held contorts with dizzying bewilderment. Rifling through memories, flourishing no more than vacancy of enlightenment to my perilous predicament. Foiled attempts to elucidate are assaulted forthwith by hallucinogenic indulgence. Flashes of dark shadows transpose attentions with the scratching of burning claws and ferocious gnash of canines. Unbearable tremble consumes lacerated limbs, coursing icy perspirations, fumbling fingers down the spine. Wretched to knees by unattainable irritation and compulsion to tear skin from its skeletal frame, the murkiness of dread washes over me, flashes over the horror of the prior events, course back into memory. Tales of the howling curse were mere legends in these parts. Disappearances of people put down to rare happenstance and nothing more. But the terror reinforced its reality, and I had succumbed to the beastly bite of the jackal. Regaining my feet, I am aghast by a vision of the beast. Long golden horns like a mighty trident gleamed from its head. The dead eyes of the afterlife pierced my very soul. Fang-adorned mouth deters any contemptible fancy of resistance. Petrified in fear, it mimics my every move, twitch, and motion. 'Tis but my reflection, my discovery of my fate. I have become the very beast of myth and legend, and I am hungry. Oh, Richard, that is a ghastly tale. So probably not the best line. Like if I was going to pick like my favorite line for the best line, I think I'd choose others. But I'm going with my favorite line just because I like the word and I like that you used jackal for the description. My favorite line of this is, I had succumbed to the beastly bite of the jackal. That's just like statement piece that would pause the movie or pause the book. I had succumbed to the beastly bite of the jackal. So that's my favorite of that. And this was an amazing job. Thank you, Richard. Really, really good. And that was our last poem, and I want to thank everybody for coming on behalf of BJHD.Writer, the Overlord, and myself. Thank you, everybody who wrote, and thank you to those who came into the room. May your paws stay forever inky. And we are the voices beyond the den. We are the cats who will always win. We are the poets of imagination, creativity, and meow, scratching alphabetical dexterity. We search for clues and hunt for treats. We base our prose on instinctual beats. We keep a sharp eye towards various causes. We attract certain types of poetic pauses. We have a propensity for finding the fun when not being studiously serious with puns. We are the voices above the fray. We're the safe space for those with something to say. May your paw stay forever inky. And Tommy says, thank you, Angelique and Overlord. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for staying. And thank you for writing. And may y'all's paw stay inky. Oh, thank you, Tommy. I'll be fine. I think I just have a migraine coming on, and it's hitting me in a different way. And I apologize for that tonight. But thank you guys for writing, and we will see y'all later. Thank you for your concern.